Let's get started with the questions. So, first question was someone that submitted this beforehand, and the situation here is this person has a husband who doesn't change their drinking habits with his friends despite knowing the consequences and how it's affecting his relationships after numerous requests to him. And then when he gets caught, he says other people's wives don't care and interfere this much in what their husbands do. So her question is this normal behavior, or am I being too reactive, or am I being manipulated by this person? So I actually asked a follow-up question here, just so I can get some more information as to give the best advice possible. So this person said, this has affected our marriage very negatively. He's always prioritizing his friends and alcohol over our time together. I get stood up when we have plans. The consequences he was given was the marriage would end if he continues, but then he turns around and tells me that I'm the problem because I'm not understanding like other wives are, and I interfere too much in his life. So I'm very glad that this question came up, because this is a situation that I think a lot of people can relate to. A lot of people struggle with addictions of all kinds. And I'm not saying that this person has an addiction, although they could. So let me know also if you can relate to this. I'm curious here. But to answer your question, to the person that asked this is not healthy behavior in any way. I don't like to say normal, because there's a lot of behavior that is out there that is really unhealthy, but it's normal, as in a lot of people do it. So I'm going to use the terms healthy and unhealthy. So unhealthy is the best word for this behavior. This isn't healthy behavior in any way. This is manipulation. I'm going to just call it what it is. A healthy response. So I'm going to contrast that response to someone bringing up concerns about a partner's drinking to what a healthy response would look like. So a healthy response would be to say, oh wow, I didn't realize that my drinking was affecting you so much. I'm so sorry. I'm going to work on that. I'm going to try to stop drinking less. I'm going to actually get some help if I can't do it on my own. That's what a healthy response looks like. An unhealthy response is what you got here. It's a manipulation. It's a defensive reaction. Well, other people's wives don't do that, so it's fine. You're the problem here. And that's not what's going on here. It sounds very clearly to me from what you've said in this question that the drinking is becoming a real big problem, and it is concerning. And so this isn't to say that this is a bad person you're dealing with, that your husband is a bad person. This does sound like a person who may indeed have a drinking problem. And he may be using that manipulation because either he doesn't have the desire to stop drinking, or he can't. He's unable to. It's really, and it is at the level of addiction. I can't say what's going on here just from that, just from the information you've given to me here. But what I can tell you is this is his issue. This is his issue. This isn't something that you can solve for him. This isn't something that you can manipulate your way into getting him to change. This is something that he has to choose on his own. And from what you've described here, from his answers to you, this person isn't ready to make that change. He doesn't want to. If someone wanted to, the answers that he'd be giving you would look very different, like I shared in the healthy example. So it doesn't seem like he is at the point where he does want to change his behavior. So really, to answer your question here, no, this is not healthy. Is it normal? This does happen in a lot of relationships, but I would not say that this is something that is conducive to having a healthy relationship. So here's the thing too. So if you have said that if the drinking continues, the marriage will end, if you do stay, this person will have no reason to believe you. So make sure, and this is for anyone who's ever setting a boundary like that, make sure if you do set that boundary that you are willing to follow through on that. Because otherwise, like I said, your word doesn't mean anything. You have to make sure you're willing to enforce those consequences. And I'm not saying, again, that this is what you should do. But if that's what you've said, if you said to this person, if this doesn't stop, then the relationship is over. Then you do have to follow through on that. Because like I said, otherwise, your word doesn't mean anything, and this person will have a hard time respecting you. So I hope that this answers your question. And if you guys have some follow-up questions related to a situation like this, please feel free to put them in the comments here, and I'll talk more about that. But in a nutshell here, if you have a situation where someone's behavior is really impacting you, it's making you very upset, it's triggering you, it's making it difficult for you emotionally, it's affecting you in all these different ways, and they are unwilling to address it, they're unwilling to do anything about it, they're blaming you and saying, well, this is fine with everyone else, you should be better at this, you should be okay at this. Whatever the case is, that is not conducive to a healthy relationship. And if someone is doing that to you, it's an indication that they are not ready or willing to change their behavior. So I personally would not recommend staying in that relationship. I know there's lots of other mitigating factors that could be going on, but that's just my perspective here. So thank you for that question. And I see there's some other questions coming in. Great. You guys, please continue to drop in your questions here. I'm going to go through one other one that was pre-submitted, and then I'll get to some in the comments here. But also, yeah, say hi. Let me know that you guys are watching and where you're watching from. All right, so the next question someone asked me was to please explain the difference between being generous and being a doormat. Is being a doormat the same concept as a people pleaser, and how does that differ from being genuinely generous? I really love this question because this was something that I struggled with myself. I struggled to figure out what exactly is true generosity and what is me just being over-giving, giving too much, being a people pleaser. So I love this. And I have spent a lot of time thinking about this and just watching how it plays out in my own life. So I do have some perspective here. So my definition of a doormat is someone who doesn't have any boundaries, who doesn't ever say no. And here's the thing, I don't love that term doormat. I think that's kind of a judgmental, critical term. So I don't like using that term, but for people that do use that term, that's what it is. It's someone who, just doesn't have any boundaries and just can't say no. Someone asks them to do something, they'll do it, even if they're tired, even if they don't have any energy, even if they'd rather be doing something else, they'll go do that thing that someone asked them to do. So yeah, I don't love that term. Also, something to point out here is that someone who is considered a doormat, let's just say someone who doesn't have boundaries. I think that's a much better way to present this description of a person. So someone who doesn't have a lot of boundaries will actually accept mistreatment. They will let people walk all over them. They'll let people be very mean. They'll let people abuse them. They will let people, really take advantage of them. And so I think that I definitely prefer to call this someone who doesn't have good boundaries, because again, calling someone a doormat is just another judgmental term that we don't need here. So that's what I consider that. Someone who lacks boundaries, who is more of a people pleaser, they will overgive, and at the same time, they will also, I'm trying to think of the best word here. They will allow people to mistreat them. I definitely related with this at one point in my life, and many of you here might also be able to relate to this type of behavior. There's a lot of reasons for why we do this, and I go into this in a lot of the other videos here, but yeah, that's really what I would consider someone who is a doormat. So, in contrast, genuine, generous people who are genuinely generous with their time, with their energy, and even with their money, with their finances, they actually do not lack good boundaries. They will not tolerate mistreatment. So if someone is being mean to them, if someone's being cruel to them, they're not going to continue to just give and give and give. They're going to realize, ooh, actually, this doesn't feel good anymore. This doesn't feel good to give my time, to give my energy. This person's actually not treating me well. I'm going to stop doing that. I'm going to shift my generosity to people who can receive it and who are grateful for it, who will actually appreciate it. So they're not overgiving to the extent where they are depleting themselves. They're generous with themselves as much as they are generous with other people. And here's the big distinction. I've talked about this as far as unconditional love goes. You cannot be truly generous just in one direction. Just like what I say about unconditional love. If you're truly wanting to embody unconditional love, and a lot of people who are on a spiritual awakening journey, that's what they're going for. They're trying to embody unconditional love and also oftentimes unconditional generosity. But that does not go in only one direction. It doesn't only go outward. If you are truly embodying unconditional love and unconditional generosity, or we can even just say generosity, it goes in all directions, meaning it includes yourself. So if you're wanting to be unconditional loving, that love is also going to come around to you. If you're wanting to be generous, that true generosity, that also has to come to you. So someone who is truly generous is going to give their time, their energy, their money, but they're also going to take very good care of themselves. True generosity comes from a place where your cup is full. You've taken such good care of yourself, you feel fulfilled, you feel like all your needs are met, and you have so much overflowing that you can freely give that to other people. Because you've already given so much to yourself, because you've been very generous and loving to yourself. So I hope this is making sense so far. If you are giving or being overly, I don't even want to use the word generous, if you're being too giving from a place where you feel lacking or you feel like you have to do it as part of a manipulation, whether it's to be liked, to be accepted, to be seen well, then that's not true generosity. And so I hope this is very clear what the difference is. I actually was talking about this with my partner last night, and we were reading something about generosity, and there is a very fine line between overgiving, giving way too much, and just being generous in general with your time and energy. When you are giving too much, you're basically treating someone like a child. You're saying, you're coming from the place of, I have to take care of everything for you. You are not capable of taking care of yourself. I need to cater to you. And that's not what an adult relationship should be like. That's not a healthy relationship. You want to also be taking care of yourself. Doesn't mean you can't be generous or can't be loving and giving at times, but you want to make sure you're also giving that to yourself, and your needs are just as important as other people's needs. So again, I hope that this answers your question, and I hope it's clear here what the distinction is. Being a doormat is never good. It's never what we want to go for. We want to go for the place where our needs are just as important as other people's, and we have very clear and strong boundaries. And we're only being generous from a place of a full cup, so to speak. Our cup is full. Okay, I see you guys have questions here. Thank you so much. And please continue to put your questions in here. But before I answer these questions, I want to just share a little bit about the work I do. I don't take too much time during these lives to talk about my program, but I want to go into that here because there's truly only so much that I can do for you guys in these live sessions or in the posts that I share. If you want to break the cycle of toxic relationships, the way to do it is to do the inner work. You can read a lot of books, you can watch a lot of videos, but that's not going to be the thing that does it. And I say this from personal experience because I did that. I read the books and they were helpful. I took some courses, those were helpful too. But what did it for me was to do the inner subconscious work, because there was so much stuff going on in my subconscious that I wasn't aware of. That was the thing that was keeping me from having a healthy relationship. That was, in essence, blocking me from allowing love into my life. So I'm going to just share a little bit about this before I answer the rest of your questions here. So who can benefit from subconscious work? If you've ever felt like you keep attracting emotionally unavailable men. I have so many women that come to me and they say, the only people that are out there are emotionally unavailable people. This is a very, very common issue here, and it can be resolved through the work that I do. Another thing that would make subconscious work beneficial to you would be if you feel like you've never had a healthy relationship and you have no idea what that looks like. That's another thing that a lot of women come to me from that place, and that's where I was too. Another thing that could be, or I shouldn't even say thing, if you've ever felt like you're not attracted to people who would be right for you, that's a sign that subconscious inner healing work could be hugely beneficial to you, because all of that attraction stuff is happening deep down in the subconscious. If you've ever felt like you're ready to give up on love because you just keep getting into bad relationships, subconscious work could be really helpful for you. If you feel like you don't trust anyone because you've been hurt in the past, or if you feel like you push good people away because of all of the issues that you've had and that you're carrying around from past relationships, subconscious work could be good for you. And also, one of the most important ones, or one of the ones that comes up super frequently, is if you have a pattern of finding healthy partners boring. I have certainly been there myself, and that didn't change. I read all the books, I watched all the videos. That didn't change until I did the deep inner healing work. I was finding healthy partners boring, and I was going for those toxic relationships that were super exciting but were terrible for me. So I have a 12-week program that I put together, which encompassed all of the things that made the difference for me in my healing journey, the things that really did it, that got me to the place where I could let go of my exes and let healthy love in. And I actually spent a lot of money on doing this healing work, and I can tell you that every single cent that I spent to get to this place was so worth it. And I'm going to share a little bit about my experience here. Being in a healthy relationship versus a toxic relationship has completely changed my life. If I wasn't in a healthy relationship right now, if I was in a toxic relationship, I wouldn't be able to show up here every single week and support you guys and write content and put these lives on for you, because I just wouldn't have had the time and energy to do it. When I was in an abusive relationship, I actually tried to start an energy healing business. This was years ago. It's always been my passion, and it's part of the work that I do. I'll talk a little bit about that here. But I really, really wanted to do energy healing work for a long time, and I tried to start that business while I was in that relationship, and I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it because that relationship was taking up so much of my time and so much of my energy. If you guys have been in relationships like that, you probably know what I'm talking about. There's just so much going on. There's so much pain that's being triggered. There's so much chaos in that relationship that I would try to get it going, and I was just too exhausted. I was too drained, too much going on psychically, if that makes sense, for me to be able to get that going. Now it's a completely different story. My relationship is not like that. It's not chaotic. It's a healthy relationship. I feel supported, and so I can show up for you here, and really I can live my dreams. So it's not just about having a healthy relationship for the sake of the relationship. That is amazing. And also, having a healthy relationship completely changes your life in every other way. And it has for me too. And I'm curious, I know Cassie, you're in a healthy relationship now. I'm curious if that has been the case for you. So that's just one small example of how valuable doing this inner work can be. It really completely changes your life. So my Living Free Finding Love program, it's a 12-week program, and there's 3 main aspects of the work. The first is deprogramming, the second is emotional healing, And the third is helping you navigate through the dating world. I'm just going to go very quickly into some detail here. So deprogramming means getting all of that crap out of your head from your ex, or if you're still in the relationship, from the person you're in a relationship with. I think you probably know what I'm talking about here. All the manipulation, all the gaslighting, all the stuff that they made you believe about yourself and about other people. I help you to just get that out of your head and get you back into reality. I give you the real deal. And this can be so hard to do on your own. It's nearly impossible to deprogram yourself because of the deep, what is the word? I'm struggling with words today. How deep the manipulation and the gaslighting can go when you're in the relationship. It's so difficult to see your way outside of that without someone outside of you saying, no, what this person's saying is not true. That's not the reality. So that's what deprogramming is. We get all of that stuff from your past relationships out of your head so you can see clearly and be able to move forward into the next phase, which is the emotional healing. So this is the bread and butter of the work here. The emotional healing is where we go to the source of these wounds, all of the stuff that's making you feel so bad and maybe keeping you stuck in not being able to get over your ex. So these are things like emotions of rejection, abandonment. I've talked about these actually in a post on my personal page the other day, the most common types of energies that keep people stuck in a recovery process from a toxic relationship. Another one is an addictive heart energy. And an addictive heart energy is a type of energy that really fuels a trauma bond. And once we release those, it's so much easier to move forward and to recover from an ex, to let go of an ex. So what we also do is we get to the source of any negative beliefs you might have about yourself or about relationships, like I can't trust anyone or I'm not good enough. It's not enough to just tell yourself that you are good enough and that you deserve love. That's just like slapping a Band-Aid on something. It's not really getting to the source of it, where it started. So the work that I do, it helps to get to the source, the original memory where something happened that made you believe a certain thing, and we rewire your brain for a more realistic and positive perspective. Because the truth is, you are good enough, and you can trust trustworthy people. Not everyone, but there are people out there who you can trust. So rewiring these beliefs is a huge part of my program, and those two things, releasing the emotions that you've been carrying around and rewiring those beliefs, those are what really, really enable you to recover from a breakup and to open up to healthy love. So that's the emotional healing piece. The last piece is helping you to navigate through the dating process. So this includes things like learning how to have boundaries, learning how to speak and communicate in a healthy way, making sure you're not missing any red flags that are out there, and helping you to know when to spot a good partner. So you're not out there on your own in the dating world anymore, because a lot of times, here's the two things that are going on with people that are recovering from a toxic relationship. They're either not seeing red flags because they're just so used to them, or they're swiping by everyone because of all this subconscious stuff going on. They're not open to people. So once we do the work, that changes, and you're not out there on your own. I guide you through this process. So basically, like I said, this program encompasses every single thing that helped me to go from trying to let go of my ex and not being able to feeling like, oh my gosh, I can finally let go of my ex, and now I can get into a healthy relationship. Now I can let healthy love in. It encompasses the whole transformation process that you need to go through to get from that place where you're just stuck on an ex and they're in your head all the time and all the things they said to you are still there, to the place where you feel free of that and you're ready to open up to healthy love, because all of you here deserve that. It's truly life-changing, and that's what I want for all of you here. So I'm with you every step of the way when we work together. If you're interested in my program, you can comment down below, Real Love, or just message me and we can talk more about the details of the program. Thank you guys for listening here, and I see I see a comment from Cassie. Oh, thanks, Cassie. She's saying, doing the inner healing has impacted my whole life. I'm so much less stressed and anxious. I'm able to walk myself through stressful thoughts and not spiral when upset. I sleep better. My physical health is improving. I'm kind and compassionate with myself. This is awesome, Cassie. I love my partner, but even if I didn't have him in my life and was still single, I would be happy and healthy. That is so awesome. I'm the happiest and healthiest I've ever been thanks to the healing journey and working with you. Worth every tear and every cent. Oh, thank you, Cassie. Yeah, you know, thank you for sharing your experience and hearing that. That's just, it's wonderful and very fulfilling for me to hear, because yeah, this was my passion, and it's been my passion for so long to help people through using these tools, and that have been so helpful for me. So thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, let me get to the rest of the questions here. Thanks you guys for submitting the questions. All right, so let me see here. So Jessica is asking, oh, and I see Renee. Good morning, Renee. Jessica's asking, why does this guy still like my photos and want me on his social media if he's not interested in me? He messages me a couple of times in the week but never wants to catch up with me. I liked this guy and I can't help but feel rejected. Jessica, I totally get it. And I think you added something here. Yeah, sorry, I forgot to mention that we were catching up and I had deleted him before, but then he added me again and started doing this. Yeah, Jessica, I feel the frustration here. And let me just pull up your original comment. So, you know, here's what our brains do when we feel rejected by someone and when we actually do really want to be with someone. When they're commenting on our social media or they're liking things, in our heads we're going, oh, does this mean that they still like me? Do they still want to get back together? Like, are they maybe just not ready yet, but they just need some time and they're going to want to be with me? That's all the stuff that's going on in our heads. What's actually going on is, in the reality of most of these situations, this guy is just seeing what he can get away with. He's probably bored. He probably has some interest in you, and so he's liking stuff, but he's not interested in a real relationship. So he's just seeing what kind of attention he can get from you. And I know this is probably not the answer that any of us ever want to hear, because we want this person to like us back. We want them to respond to us. But truly, he's just entertaining himself at this point. So, Jessica, that's the why. And I have, you know, I've asked people this because I wanted to know for a long time. I've asked guys that I knew. I was like, why do guys do this? What is going on here? And that's what they said. They're like, yeah, you know what? If I were truly interested in this person, I would be asking them out. I would be like showing up. I would be doing all the things to make sure that I don't lose this person. But when I'm not that interested and maybe I'm just bored or maybe I'm lonely and I'm just looking for something to do, yeah, I'll comment on stuff. I'll like stuff. I will lead someone on a bit, but I'm not going to be fully in to the situation, to this person. And whatever they give me back, great. They'll just take it. Are these people with integrity? No, no. But this is why. This is what's out there. This is why they're doing it. And, you know, so Jessica, what I would suggest is if you really are interested in this person and having these interactions is just painful for you and triggering for you, continue to block this person. Like I said, if someone was truly interested, if they truly wanted to be in a relationship with you, they wouldn't be acting like this. They wouldn't just be liking your stuff. They wouldn't just be commenting. They'd be saying, hey, let's go out. And then eventually, hey, I want you to be my girlfriend. They would be making it very clear. So for all of you here, if you have a guy like this, if you have a person in your life that you're interested in and they have shown some interest in the past, but then they're pulling away and they're playing this hot and cold game, but they're watching your stories, doesn't mean they like you, doesn't mean they want to be with you. They may have, again, some interest in you, but if you're interested in a healthy relationship, just block these people. They're truly a waste of your time and energy. They're not going to be able to show up in the way you want them to. And here's the thing, if something does change within them, it's not going to be because you saw them leave a comment on your post. If someone truly has changed their mind, their heart has changed, they will make it clear. They're going to call you. They're going to ask you out. They're not going to just leave comments on your social media. So I hope this is helpful. I would just block this person, keep it moving here. So I think I see Sarah saying, hi, I used to struggle with people pleasing as well. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing, Sarah. She's saying, yeah, for me it was not balanced. First, I never gave my time or energy to myself at first. And when I pleased people, I was waiting for the same energy back. Otherwise, I was upset. Yeah, exactly. The funny part is that I used to be so caring to narcissistic partners, so obviously I wouldn't get anything back. Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like we're talking about generosity again. When we're giving from a place that's truly generous, there aren't any strings attached. We're just giving because we want to give. We're not waiting for someone to give that back to us because our cup is already full. We don't need to. So yeah, that's also part of the difference in people pleasing versus true generosity. True generosity, we don't expect anything back. We give because it feels good to give. But when you're in that people-pleasing mode, yeah, you're giving with the expectation that you're going to get that all back. And it's a difficult place to be in. So thank you so much for sharing, Sarah. Okay, so yeah, Jessica's saying, yeah, I stopped a lot of communication with him already. Basically giving him the bare minimum too. Yeah, and that's why I always am going to recommend blocking someone. Maybe not forever, but as long as you still have feelings for them and as long as you're still interested in being with them and they are not interested in being with you in the same way, it doesn't help you at all to have any sort of interaction. Again, it's just wasting your time, it's wasting your energy. Whereas even though because I used to do this, you can say to yourself like, oh yeah, I'm not really interested in this person anymore. I'm gonna start dating other people. I'm gonna put myself out there. But as long as I was still talking to someone who I still had interest in, I wasn't fully open to other people. I was still holding out that little bit of hope that this person was going to turn around and realize how wonderful that I was and have a change of heart. And that's, again, a difficult place to be, and it leaves you not able to be fully open to the amazing people that could show up in your life who could truly love you, who could truly give you everything that you need. So yeah, I'm always in favor of blocking people like this. Yeah, so Jessica, yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, I know I'm secretly hoping he becomes interested. And so, yeah, Jessica, if there's anything that I can share with you from my years of experience waiting for someone to become interested. Jessica, I married this person who I was waiting for them to become truly interested in me. They were interested enough in me to get married to me, but that baseline of how this person was toward me, it never changed. And I eventually ended up leaving that relationship because I just felt like I wasn't receiving the love back that I was able to give. It wasn't the same, it wasn't the level of love that I eventually realized that I deserved. So this does not end up well. I don't recommend waiting for someone to become interested in you. It doesn't work out well. So, okay, I don't see any other questions here. I'm going to give it a second here to see if anyone else has any other questions here, but thank you guys for watching. Thank you so much for participating in this Ask Me Anything Live. And again, if you have any questions any topics that you want me to address, please leave them in the comments here or leave me a private message. But yeah, I do not recommend waiting for someone to be interested in you. Because like I said, even when I was like, oh great, this person wants to marry me, I didn't truly feel loved in the way that I felt that I eventually deserved. Excuse me. So I hope this helps. Jessica, I would block this guy and just keep it moving. And I know it will probably be a bit painful to do that. You're going to go through a little bit of loss. You're going to grieve the potential of what that relationship could be and what you had for a short period of time. Excuse me. but it's going to be worth it in the end because you'll be able to open up to a healthy love, a healthy relationship. All right. Oh man. I swallowed water. It went down the wrong way. And it's funny because this is what I used to do. I was a speech therapist and I used to help people with their swallowing. Sometimes I need my own help. But anyway, you guys, again, thanks for watching, and I will see you next week with a new topic. All right, take care.